Escape Room Tournament of Champions. I got to go up to the theater the other day to see The Green Knight, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'm already up here. I might as well see Escape Room Tournament of Champions, because I was very excited for it, because I do have a strong liking for the first film. It kind of came out of nowhere. It was released in Dump Month, January of 2019, and then it ended with this kind of cliffhanger of a sequel. And I was like, holy shit, that was a cool film, and I really am looking forward to a sequel. And of course, COVID kind of screwed up the release date on Tournament of Champions. So we pick right up where the last one left off with our two surviving characters. And we follow them into yet another series of escape rooms. I'm not going to say how they get there or any of that stuff, but you know where this is heading. So a plot synopsis is kind of unnecessary here. As far as the film goes, I said this on Facebook and I'll stick to this. This is an entertaining disappointment. That's a very interesting way to say this. I know it kind of sounds confusing, but that's exactly what it is. It's a disappointment from what I would have wanted out of this film. I feel like this had all the potential to surpass, its predecessor. But that being said, I still enjoyed it. But I will say this. This film expects you to suspend way more disbelief than the last film. There are straight up 100% unexplainable things that happen here just purely for plot convenience. I asked Kaylee in the car, I'm like, okay, this scene with the train, how could all of these people be in this location at the same time? There's no answer for that question. There is no answer for that question. No one could answer that question. So that kind of stuff, you kind of just gotta go, it's a movie. It's convenient to the plot. The end. That is it. Because the timing of that is impossible. Okay, absolutely impossible. The way they have it set up in the film, no chance that works. None at all. So you just have to accept that scene's happening and how it's happening and just go, okay. And this happens a few times in the film. More than a few times. There are a lot of plot conveniences. A fuck ton of them. And then the whole end reveal, the twist and all of that stuff that kind of changes and alters your perspective of the first film a little bit is all but meaningless and completely pointless and totally misses the mark and made me actually annoyed, because I was like, why? What purpose does this serve other than to have some kind of Saw-like reveal that changes your perspective of other films in the franchise? It did not work. It did not land. And it had 3 or 4 writers on this. They should be ashamed of themselves for that, for sure. When you have that many people working on a script, you cannot let lazy shit like that pass. It does not service the plot. It does not do anything. And it does nothing but add more confusion and more questions to something that already asks the audience to suspend disbelief, right? But you're asking too much from the audience. It sounds like I'm coming down on the film, and I am, because I said it was a disappointment. It is. But the escape rooms themselves are cool. The thrilling aspects of the escape rooms is cool. I enjoyed all of that. One thing that this film definitely lacked that the other film had is that I felt like I was playing along with the escape rooms in the first movie. I felt like the puzzles in which they were getting made sense enough for me to think along with them in the moment and be like, okay, I think it's this. And then it ended up being that. And then other times I was like, I think it's this. And then they were like, tried that thing and it didn't work. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's not it? Okay, what is it? I felt like I was in the escape room with them. With this one, there was a lot of times where it just felt like it was kind of, the the characters were written to get things. Like, we just had to accept that they would be able to figure that thing out. Like, the thing just was too ridiculous for anyone to figure out in a minute when everything's pressing down on you. So that all did not work as well as the first movie, where I felt like I could figure things out. Another thing, this is the biggest disappointment of this film by far and away, is the Tournament of Champions, which is uttered by a character in the film, and it's one of those like Family Guy moments. Like, oh my god, they said the title in the film. It is so forced. It is so lame. Fuck that scene for sure. Super, super lame. That being said, the whole Tournament of Champions, I'm sure you can figure out what this is. If you watch the trailer, you know what it is. But even if you didn't watch the trailer, you should be able to figure out what that means. It's all the past survivors being brought together to play this game together. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. They still only rely on the characters from the last movie to solve all the problems. They don't really help almost at all. So the believability of them all being past survivors is taken down. It does not feel like a Tournament of Champions. I thought that this was going to go down the Hunger Games route, and that these guys were all going to be vying against one another, and there was going to be a lot of backstabbing and a lot of people who are like, you know, showing a lot more character through what they did in the past. Maybe showing flashbacks to their escape rooms. None of that happens. These are just, they could be random people. The fact that they're champions from the past, completely pointless. It does not make a difference in the film. So it should have just been regular old people. The only reason to have them be champions is so that the audience doesn't have to once again be explained what's going on through the characters explaining it to characters that have not been in this game yet. So that's about the only thing that we get to get past, but I'm fine with it. Every Saw movie has people fucking waking up and going, what is happening here? And you have like Amanda in part 2 being like, I've played before, these are the rules, and I'm fine with that. It worked. So why make these people champions if it doesn't really help them all that much? And it doesn't really add anything to the characters. What would have been cool is if there was a middle film to this, where it was like an anthology or even a television series to show these people surviving their escape rooms, to build their characters, and then when we all met in this movie, we would actually know these characters, and then it would have had that feel of like, holy shit, who's going to survive, but you know exactly where this is going. You have your main character from the last film, it's the Tournament of Champions, but none of these people ever, for 1 second, do you feel like they're going to make it through it. That they're not just cannon fodder for our remaining characters from the last film to get through the traps with, so that they can be dispatched one by one, and that we're basically not going to have any real, like, risky moments. That's the kind of stuff that's irritating. So really what it comes down to is this film is entertaining because of the escape rooms. This is like a Saw film where the traps are great and nothing else works. That's this film. What are we in Saw movies for the most part, is the traps. What are we in the escape rooms in for the most part? The fucking escape rooms. Did the escape rooms work for me? Mostly. As I said, I feel like they're a little too convoluted, and the characters, you just kind of got to accept that they figured it out. But regardless, I don't care. I like that they're thrilling and exciting and well constructed and imagined and all that stuff. Again, that the production side of things on that is cool, and the ticking clock and all that stuff still works. And this entire fucking movie, probably besides 10 minutes of it, is an escape room. They're in one to the next to the next. It is escape room, escape room, escape room, and they live in these things the whole film, which is exactly what this film should be. So that's why I'm saying it's a disappointing, or an entertaining disappointment. It works in the escape rooms, which is what I'm there for, but it lacks in everything else. The first film, it worked on every level. I liked all the characters. I liked how it went. I liked, plot points. I felt like things were believable enough. You know what I'm saying? So with this one, downgrade. If they make a third, which they definitely leave it off for one, and then, oh my God, the whole reason why this whole thing takes place Like the reasoning that they give at the very, very end, super fucking lame. Super stupid. And I was like, really? They did this whole movie for this reason? Get the fuck out of here. And they didn't really play off of like the other people's escape rooms and what that all meant and the strengths that they would have, because they kind of touch on them. One of them is like a priest, and he talks about how they wanted to put a bunch of people with faith against each other, which I thought was really cool. I was like, oh, I like that. That's interesting, you know. But it amounts to really nothing. There's one girl with, I don't want to get into spoilers, but it just felt like there's a lot of potential and none of it pays off, and that the entertainment comes purely from the escape rooms and the characters that we already know. So it's a downgrade. But I still liked it, even though I have a lot of negative shit to say about it. So if this was the first one, though, I definitely would not be as high on it. But because it's playing off of the last film, I like it a little more. Hopefully with the third one, if they make one, it'll be much better. We'll see. But typically, historically, once franchises start to nosedive, they don't get better until the reboot. So we'll see. Adios.